When I told people at the beginning of the year that y'all will be getting some surprise commentaries on some people y'all probably never thought I would talk about, this is a perfect example of what I mean when I said that. Because who would have thought in a million years that I would actually do a whole video on Roman Polanski? Not saying that it would have been impossible for me to do one, but it's just that nothing came up for me to actually want to talk about him until now. And shout out to Professor Black Truth, because he's the only one I saw on X post this particular article on the day that it came out, which was March 12th, 2024, but I'm recording the video the next day because it was late by the time I actually came across the article and I was too tired to record anything. But here we are, and this is a very interesting update concerning Roman Polanski. This is probably the first time Roman Polanski has been in the news in quite some time as a headline story. So this article is coming from Variety, and the title, as you can see, it says Roman Polanski to face LA trial on violation lawsuit in 2025. I had to actually check the date to make sure that it was recent and not something from a while ago and we just happened to miss it because it may have gotten thrown way under the media circuit and was replaced with something else that should not have been more importance than what this is, in my honest opinion. So let's go ahead and get into the article. A Santa Monica judge has set an August 2025 trial for a violation lawsuit against director Roman Polanski. The plaintiff alleges that Polanski violated her in 1973 when she was underage at his home in Benedict Canyon. According to her lawsuit, she had met him at a party months earlier. Polanski invited her to dinner at Le Restaurant on La Brea Avenue, gave her shots of tequila, and then drove her to his house where she passed out on his bed, the suit states. The plaintiff remembers walking up in defendant's bed with him lying in the bed next to her, the lawsuit states. He told her that he wanted to have sex with her. Plaintiff, although groggy, told defendant no. She told him, please do not do this. According to the suit, Polanski ignored her pleas and proceeded to violate her. He then drove her home. That was the last time she saw the director. The woman first came forward at a press conference with Gloria Allred in August 2017. At the time, Allred said the plaintiff, then identified as Robin M., was 16 when the sexual assault occurred. She filed the lawsuit using the name Jane Doe in June 2023 under a California law that extends the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse. Polanski was served with the lawsuit at his home in Paris. Now let's stop there. Remember, this guy fled from persecution many years ago. Now, does that sound like someone who is innocent? To me, that sounds like someone who is literally guilty, or at least has some level of guilt, in my wholehearted, honest opinion. Allred and the plaintiff held another press conference Tuesday morning to discuss the case. It took me a really long time to decide the suit against Mr. Polanski, the plaintiff said, adding that she ultimately did so to obtain justice and accountability. Polanski's attorney have denied the claim. Mr. Polanski strenuously denies the allegations in the lawsuit and believes that the proper place to try this case isn't in the courts, said Alexander Rufus Isaacs, his attorney. The two sides anticipate written discovery and depositions over the course of the next several months, including a deposition of Polanski. It is also possible that the case could be resolved before trial. Polanski, who had been a fugitive from the U.S. since 1978, would not have to attend the civil trial in person, but could appear via live video feed if needed for testimony. He is not coming back, Allred said, but this is a civil lawsuit. He does not have to appear, so they're doing this simply to get money. Polanski fled the U.S. on the eve of sentencing for the violation of a 13-year-old girl and has been unable to return to the country since then without fear of arrest. Over the following decades, not decade, but decades, as in more than one, numerous efforts to resolve the criminal case have gone nowhere, and efforts to extradite him have been unsuccessful. And I want y'all to keep that date in mind of 1978 at the time that he fled and left the establishment because I'm going to mention something later on that I'm sure some of you are familiar with, but in case you aren't, you're going to hear it today. Robin M. initially came forward when a Los Angeles judge was considering a request from the victim in the criminal case, Samantha Geimer, to drop the charges. Allred and Robin M. opposed that request, which a judge denied a few days later. At that time, Allred said that her client had decided not to file a civil suit. In 2017, Robin M. said she had recently reported the allegation to law enforcement. She said she did not come forward in 1973 because she feared that her father would do something that might cause him to go to prison for the rest of his life. She also said that she had told one friend shortly after the incident. The director, who is now 90, is currently facing a defamation trial in Paris. In that case, British actor Charlotte Lewis alleges that Polanski defamed her when he called her sexual assault allegations a heinous lie. Lewis has accused Polanski of assaulting her in 1983. Now, this one right here, I did not know of. I knew or heard about the main one that we're talking about, but this one right here that happened in 83, which was now 41 years ago, I didn't know about this one. When she was 16, he must have something for 16-year-old girls. In the Santa Monica lawsuit, Polanski was initially sued under a pseudonym, Doe. The plaintiff later got permission to amend the suit with his real name. Polanski's attorneys have asserted a catalog of boilerplate defenses, including that the court does not have jurisdiction over him. On Friday, Judge H.J. Ford III set a trial date of August the 4th, 2025. And that is the entire article right there. Now, remember what I told y'all about keep that date of 1978 in mind when he left? Let's fast forward to 2003 on a particular night when actors and directors and producers and editors and cinematographers and animators and all those people out in Hollywood come together to win a particular award called the Oscars. What I'm going to do for you now is insert this clip of when Harrison Ford presented Roman Polanski with his Oscar win for Best Director for the movie The Pianist. And I want y'all to pay attention to how people reacted in that room when he won.
And the Oscar goes to Roman Polanski for The Pianist. The Academy congratulates Roman Polanski and accepts this award on his behalf.
Now, you see that reaction? That was in 2003. This was about 30 years after he did what he allegedly did and fled the establishment for just a few years later. And on the night of the Oscars in 2003, this man won an Oscar for Best Directing for The Pianist. And the reaction, as y'all saw in that clip from that audience, of him giving them that loud, thunderous applause and giving him a standing ovation after they know what he did. And you had Martin Scorsese in there looking around to see if he was going to pop up somewhere, which means they knew he was not there. They knew he already fled. They already knew about this man's history, and they still got up there and clapped for him. Now, y'all saw some of the faces in that room. Many of those faces are still in existence in Hollywood today. And I can tell the only person who was probably slightly uncomfortable in that room was probably Harrison Ford, because I'm a good reader of body language, and you can tell he looked very uncomfortable even having to say this man's name. Because if you looked at his face, it's almost like he was trying to force a smile, but he couldn't quite do it. And he says the Academy accepts this award on their behalf. Because sometimes if someone's not there, they'll make a joke about it and says the Academy and I and whoever the award show is around will say, I accept this award on their behalf. He says the Academy accepts this award on his behalf. He didn't say I. So I think Harrison Ford was the only one that was uncomfortable in that entire room, while everyone else is just getting up and clapping and hooping and hollering for a man that is not even deserving of it. Now, they knew about this, and they still allowed him to win, which tells you this: while he was still on the run, while he was still, quote unquote, in asylum, he was still making movies. Remember, this movie came out in 2002. So that means he was making this movie when he was supposed to be in hiding, which means people were working with him even when they knew about his past. But they were willing to overlook it and still work with this man. Yet poor Bill Cosby, he basically gets tarred and feathered in this lamestream media, and he becomes a pariah overnight. Now, the reason why you're seeing this screenshot right here is because this is what would be the comment section under the video where I got this clip from on the official's Oscars YouTube channel. And notice in red I circled comments are turned off. It's a reason why. Because the same thing that I'm scolding them for right now is the same thing people were scolding them for in that comment section. And they ended up turning it off because I guess in their eyes it got a little too nasty under there. Well, good for them. Because they called them out. How you gonna give this man an Oscar knowing what he did? People, that's still to this day a controversial win, but even to this day it's not even talked about. But I'm talking about it, and I will continue to talk about it. I mean, hell, they want to do what they did to Bill Cosby. Let's do the same thing to Roman Polanski. Why not? Why not? They want to keep trying to bury what this guy did. Well, it looks like it's about to be unburied because of the article I just read to you. And good, I'm glad that it's coming back to bite them. But it's not going to affect them in any way. Because remember, this happened in 2003 when he won. You're talking about we are 21 years removed from that. But the video is still very much up there on their channel. If they could, they would take the video down, but they can't. Because then it's going to really look obvious. I mean, it looked obvious by them turning the comment section off. Because I guess they don't think people won't do the research and know what this guy did. Because if you look at a lot of their other videos on their page when they do the Oscar winners, their comment sections are turned on. Whether someone may or may not agree with the winner or not. But this one in particular is off. They probably are mad they can't take the video down. They mad that it's gotten 1.4 million views over the span of 12 years. Well, for research purposes, I'm glad they left it up. Because many people of you probably never even saw that clip that I just played. And that's not even the whole clip. I just cut some of it out because the first part was just them mentioning all the nominees. Y'all didn't need to see that part. Y'all just needed to see when he got announced and the reaction. That's all you needed to see. That tells you everything you needed to know about some of those people out in Hollywood right now and who they choose to support. So just keep this in mind going forward. If something else happens, or if they decide one day they're bored and want to bring up Bill Cosby again, because you know they'll do it, just refer back to this. Hell, I'll even leave the link to the actual video yourself if you don't want to play this whole video and you just show them that. Keep in mind that some of the same people that was in that room, specifically some of the women in there who are still acting to this day, are the same ones who came out years later screaming about Me Too this and Me Too that. That's another reason why I couldn't take Me Too seriously, because I kept thinking back to how many of them reacted in that clip with Roman Polanski. That guy should have been the original Me Too, if you want to be completely honest with you. Before all that stuff with Weinstein came out and all the stuff they put on to Bill Cosby and anybody else, that's where it should have kicked off with if you really want to be technical. But notice how they gloss over that. Roman Polanski's name doesn't even come up when they talk about Me Too at all. Even if what is being pushed on him is alleged, never do they ever bring his name up in that Me Too discussion when Me Too was at its height. It's almost like he didn't exist. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, are we just going to sit here and pretend like Roman Polanski wasn't a thing? But then again, they awarded him right there in front of the world, a man who had all of this going on in the background. So I'm not surprised that even years later, when Me Too became a thing, that they never brought his name up in any capacity.